Okay, so let's talk about the graph of the cotangent function. And again, we're using the idea that if we have something of the form y equals a times the cotangent of b times x, what's going to happen right here is that within this cycle, we're going to have a function whose period is equal to pi over b, and that will adjust the way we look at our function. Now here's the other thing, kind of like I did before, if you have the natural cotangent function, you'll note that one period goes from 0 to pi. So if I'm looking for vertical asymptotes, a way to do it is to note that, well, naturally, if one cycle occurs from 0 to pi, I can take whatever my argument is and set it between those two values. So in my graph now, I would find my vertical asymptotes by setting bx on the interval between 0 and pi, which would be the natural asymptotes right here. So, keeping that in mind, if I've got y equals 1/4 times cotangent of x over 4, a is equal to 1/4, 1/4. B is also equal to 1/4 in this particular case. So what does that mean? Well, my period then will be pi divided by 1/4, which is to say 4 pi. Okay. What's more, if I'm interested in finding the location of my vertical asymptotes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my argument, x over 4, and set it between the natural asymptotes of cotangent, and that is at 0 and pi. So multiplying by 4, I get 0 less than x less than 4 pi. So my first asymptote will be at 0. My next asymptote will be at 4 pi. So let me go ahead and mark off my axis this way. Here's 4 pi. We've got a vertical asymptote. Here's 0, where I've got another vertical asymptote. And then we look at what happens at the key points in between. Well, we've got a key point at 2 pi, and then we got these quarter points where we're going to have 1 pi and 3 pi. And we ask ourselves, what happens there? Well, as far as the graph is concerned, 1, 2, 3, let's make this 1. Let's make this negative 1. 1/4 is the value for a. So at at pi, y would be equal to 1/4. We have negative 1/4 right here. At 2 pi, we're going to be at the center axis, and at 3 pi, we'll be down to negative 1/4. And so if I'm graphing this cotangent function, it must come down this time along the vertical asymptote, pass through our 3 points at pi, 2 pi, and 3 pi, then pass down along the vertical asymptote at 4 pi. All right, so this is just a really quick way of getting one of these graphs produced. We'll be going over some of these ideas for domains and all these other things in class. So good luck with the homework, and I'll see you there.